Welcome back, FoodFAQers. I'm Mariela.
And I'm Eric.
And today we're talking about something a little bougie.
Little braised and bougie?
Braised and bougie. What does bougie even mean? Like, my kids asked me the other day, and I'm like, how do I explain this?
Like fancy.
Like a little fancy.
Yeah.
But like when you're really not, right?
When I've always equated it when you're necessarily not yourself high-end or fancy or yourself. Yeah, I think that's when you use the word bougie.
Right? Like it's a moment in time for a snapshot.
Right. It's not an everyday activity for us. So that's why I think we can use the term. I don't think the wealthy refer to themselves as bougie. We refer to them
exactly
as bougie. So I think that's what it is. So...
Well, we're adopting the term here because, here at FoodFAQ, we're generally very simple folk. We like recipes that are easy and approachable. And although this recipe today will be both easy and approachable, it is a little fancier than what we usually do.
It is a little fancier. So the next 3 episodes, we have some bougie recipes for everybody.
Yes. And we're starting with bougie and braised.
Braised and bougie, Mariela.
Sorry. I came up with it. Thank you very much.
You did. You honest to God did. You came up with this entire little series.
Can't remember my own shit.
At least I'm here to take notes on how to properly pronunciate.
Pronunciate.
That's right. Our episodes here. So.
Oh my God.
You're welcome.
Thank you for pronunciating it.
My pleasure.
All right. So we're going to do braised and bougie. And this is a recipe that I tried today for the first time. I tried to braise short ribs and I was a little bit intimidated by it. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. Tell me.
Have you ever made it before?
No.
Right. I've only enjoyed it made at a restaurant. So to me, it's like a fancy meal you get at a restaurant. So let me start from the beginning. Okay. I have a bone to pick with chicken.
Tell me.
I was originally going to go and spatchcock a chicken, which I may do still at some point in my life. So I went to go buy this chicken at BJ's or whatever because I was there anyway. And the chicken was like $17, $18. And I'm like, when did one stupid chicken become so expensive? And how do you buy a rotisserie chicken for $5 cooked?
There's a whole thing behind that. I can send you the link to the one that talks about like how Costco keeps their chicken so low, and they do take a loss on every single chicken they purchase. But it's that price is meant for them to take that loss because you're going to buy other shit.
Which is true.
In all honesty, they probably buy chicken at such a bulk rate.
I mean, they're the bulk store. Imagine what they get.
Right.
Well, anyway.
So true. That's so logical. I never thought of that.
Changing your mind, Eric.
You are.
So I got pissed off with this chicken, and then I looked at the beef section and I saw the short ribs were just slightly more expensive, and to me, infinitely better than a fucking chicken. I don't know.
Wait, the short ribs were less expensive?
No, they were just a little bit more. Like maybe $8, which to me is like a trivial amount these days. Anything costs $8. Oxygen at some point will cost $8 a breath.
So wait, this was $8 a pound?
No, I don't even know. I got 7 short ribs. I want to say maybe there was like 4.
This is why this is the bougie episode. You're like, I don't know the price.
It was $25.
I just purchased it.
Yeah, but it was $25 for 7 short ribs, which I thought, shit, like you buy this at a restaurant, it's way more expensive than this. So it's worth doing at home. So I didn't know what I was doing. So I got some advice from Cookbook Club, The Longest Table, and was telling me that she made short ribs from somebody she follows on Instagram. It's called Dinner with Levi. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I'm going to link it in the show notes. It's this toddler and his dad is like a chef and he cooks for him, and the toddler eats very like high end food and he's adorable. Anyway, so she shared this recipe with me, and she told me that the star anise was the like star of the show. So I said, okay, I'm definitely going to add the star anise to this. Okay.
Right.
So this is what I did. You grab your short ribs, you grab about a 1/4 cup of flour, whatever it is, to dust it on the outside so that it can get nice and golden when you brown the meat. While you're dusting it, you get your Dutch oven. It has to be a heavy pan, Eric. You can't just do this in like a little dinky one.
Right. Like a Le Creuset or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then you brown the short ribs on all sides. You remove them from the pan. This cut of meat will render a lot of fat. You have to drain some of the fat out of the pan. You keep about 2 tablespoons in there. Then I got 3 carrots. I went ahead. I didn't peel them because they're just for the braising liquid. And I cut them into chunks. I quartered an onion, and I got 3 stalks of celery, chopped it up, put it in there, sauteed it, salted it. Remember to salt your food as you cook. You can't do it all at the end or all at the beginning. It has to be a built-in process. And then I added about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I had it frozen because, I have a freezer obsession. So when I open one, I freeze the rest. So then I always have tomato paste. So I suggest you do the same thing. So I let it all marinate in there, add a little pepper. Then I went ahead and I put the 5-star anise with that mixture and I tossed it about. Then I put the short ribs back in the pot, nice and brown. And then I added half a cup of wine, red wine. I used a Cab. It was cheap. It's not even, I know that you're supposed to cook with a wine that you can drink, but it was a decent wine. It was like $10 or something. So it wasn't like horrible wine.
Right.
Half a cup of that. I put 3 cups of beef stock, which I had made the day prior because I had made vaca frita.
Which is fried cow. Which
is so good. And we should make a whole pressure cooker delight series because the pressure cooker can really get you out of a jam. And it makes a lot of Cuban food that I think is.
And for those who don't know what vaca frita is, it's just it's like shredded beef, fried beef. It's very good.
Delicious.
Really seasoned well. It's one of my favorite dishes, but
it's lemony and garlicky and onion.
It's so good.
So good. So I kept the broth because honestly, I made that for my family, but I drank the broth because I am a broth whore and I will drink soup for any meal. So I went ahead and I put 3 cups of that in with it. I added half a teaspoon of molasses, which I think did something really magical to this dish. The molasses added a richness. The sauce itself was so velvety and all encompassing. Anything that it touched with the meat, it just surrounded it and gave it that lip smacky, delicious mouth feel. I did that. I also added about 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce to all that. I stirred it a little bit. I didn't want to interrupt it too much because I wanted the beef to lay on top of the chopped vegetables so that they wouldn't burn.
Right.
And, also, I'm sorry. When you do begin the process, put your oven at 350 before you start to preheat it. Once you do all these things, you cover it and you put it in the oven for 3 hours. Check it at 2.5 hours. You don't have to do anything to it. Just let it sit and cook. Eric.
That's delicious.
The
pictures looked delicious.
Oh my God. When I tell you that this is maybe one of the best things I have made at home, it absolutely is. The star anise was right. It is definitely the star of the show. It adds this je ne sais quoi in the background. Don't laugh at me with my je ne sais quoi.
I'm just laughing because you love that fucking phrase. I would think you would use a word it adds a warmth.
Yes.
A depth to the dish.
Yes, it's all those things are true, but it's not something that you eat often. I feel like when you do eat it, you're like, oh, I know.
Now I have a question for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I normally don't like star anise, anise. I don't like it because it's a little licoricey. So did that licoricey come out or
no?
What did it add to the, not that I'm saying that I wouldn't do it. I will absolutely do this step, but I'm just curious at how the anise came out.
It added, just like you said, a warmth, a spice, almost like if it were cardamom or something to that degree, but just subdued, it was its best self. It was the representative. When you meet people you don't really know and you're in your best behavior, that was the star anise at this meeting. He really behaved, but he lent lots of nice things to the conversation.
What do you think about adding, I'm just giving conversation here, because if the star anise added a depth to it, what if you added a cinnamon stick to it?
You could 100% do that, and it would be a welcome addition, especially now for the fall.
Right.
Yes. And I think what it is, I've seen, I poured over a lot of recipes to kind of create this recipe, which I'm not reinventing the wheel. I just kind of added whatever I felt would be good in such a dish as this, I've made coq au vin in the past, so I have a little bit of practice with something like this, a saucy meat that's braised over time. So I kind of took from that, but I feel like, the wine itself, you taste the wine, it's there, it's not overpowering, but it does it takes on the flavors of the things you put into it, and it also becomes subdued,
Sure.
It is perfection. And with it, I only had 2 potatoes, so I didn't want to go out and buy more shit to make with it, honestly. So I peeled my potatoes, I cut them up, and I added 3 gigantic carrots that I chopped up and boiled with the carrots to make a potato carrot mash, which was honestly a good choice because this is so incredibly rich that having just like a tinge of vegetable in there, it did a wonderful service, honestly. I mean, and this is like fall in a bowl, and it does take time to make, right? But all the work is on the front end. And then once you're done kind of sauteing and browning, that's it. You're good. You're done.
Right.
And I served myself 1 short rib. I couldn't even finish it because it's so incredibly rich. Yeah. The sauce is just, oh my God, Eric, this is something we need to make in our lifetime at least once. And this is the perfect time to make it. Fall in a bowl.
It does sound like fall in a bowl. It sounds like really warm and delicious and fatty.
It is fatty, 100%. Like this is the type of thing you feel on your lips after you're done. You're like, nom, 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 nom. There's something in there.
Well, this sounds really good.
Yes, I think it's also something you can entertain with. We're coming up on that time of year where people come over and you want to like kind of impress them, but you also have to clean your house and make sure that you have all the other shit ready. This is something you can kind of throw in the oven and then wow with without too much effort.
Right.
And it's not incredibly expensive either, really. When you think about the quality of the food that you're serving, it doesn't cost that much money and you're able to feed at least 4 people. We had 7 short ribs and the kids ate 1 like together. I think you could feed 4 to 5 people with this.
And how many short ribs did you get? Was it 1 per person?
I had 7 short ribs. My husband ate 2. I couldn't finish 1. My kids ate 1. And then I had 2 left over. It feeds people.
Okay. Yeah, they look meaty. Like you got good short ribs. Yes,
they were definitely meaty. They weren't skinny little like, no, they were not keto ribs. They were eating carbohydrates. I think that this is a godsend. Honestly, my husband could not believe it. He was like, oh, this reminds me of how you used to cook before we had kids. When I had time to marinate chicken. But it's true. He's not wrong. I used to really pour over recipes and make very complicated things before when I had the time, I didn't realize. Right. But this is like, has all the same notes of all these amazing things that you really want to eat, but you don't have time to make. This is it. Right. I swear you could make this for anything right now.
This is definitely like a weekend project.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, unless you have an extra like 3 hours to stand by the oven, you don't leave the house, which could be for some people who work at home. You could do that.
Sure.
I'm sure you could even make it in another appliance that like a slow cooker or whatever.
I think, I don't know about that. That's something that we have to play with, but short ribs are a little bit too pricey to play with that. But I think, I think the braising process is happening in the oven anyways. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes this dish special. So I guess you can cook ribs in, slow cookers and stuff like that too, but it's not going to come out with the concentration of flavor that you're getting from this. Cause when you're cooking in the oven, those flavors are really concentrating hardcore. Uh-huh. Whereas in the slow cooker, they are, but they're watery. The broth of the au jus that you're getting from it is not going to be as intense in flavor, I don't think.
Your au jus. You're talking about mine. Je ne sais quoi. You're over there jouing yourself.
Okay, I au jus'd myself once. Your je ne sais quoi, that's like 7 episodes. So you're like, I ate this candy cane I found on the floor and there was a je ne sais quoi that was part of it. It was delicious.
Oh, you're the worst, man. Listen, so I think I'm going to make this for you and Ryan. Yes, I know he will actually like this very much.
He'll eat it. It's meat.
The fucked up part is my kids were like,
Like, Mom.
My daughter was like, Mom, I know this took you many hours to make, but I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I don't like it.
I mean, I don't necessarily, she's honest.
Honest as fuck. Yeah.
And, I definitely, don't get me wrong. I think as a child, I would have liked this,
I
but
do too.
as a child, I absolutely would have liked this, no
Yes.
problems. But I think when people make this type of recipe, take that into consideration, your child's palate and
Mhm.
if it's something they're going to like. And your children have extended palates. You're not chicken on your children.
No.
So definitely take into account that when you make a meal like this, just know that they may love it and
Or
they may
not.
not. This might be something you just want to serve with adults.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But your kids have extended palates. So
Yeah. I think it's the wine flavor that they're not really so accustomed to.
right.
My son ate it. He ate it, but he wasn't thrilled.
I have a feeling he just eats anything.
Sometimes, yeah, he will.
Yeah. He's like, all right, it's there. We'll just eat this.
My daughter was like, can I have yogurt? I'm like, as long as I don't have to cook it.
She's like, Mom, remember that awesome macaroni and cheese you made that came out of that blue box?
Oh my, you
Can
know
I have
he says that to me.
That's when you have your heart attack.
Oh my God.
That sounds like a wonderful meal. I'm glad you got to share it with your family.
Yes. And I can't wait
I
to share it
hope
with
you
you.
enjoyed making it. Yeah, we'll make it in a couple weeks when you're here. I think that'll be a fun evening. That'll be a nice, because when you're here, it's going to be nice and cool. It's already cooling down.
It's bougie, baby. It's going to be nice and bougie, which is right up your alley because you're from Miami too, and you're a slightly bougie baby too.
I'm a lot of bougie baby. I don't always have the bougie baby budget, but I definitely am.
We can start a website looking for sugar daddies. We can call it Bougie Babies.
I bet you money there has to be something out there like that, like some type of website out there like that.
Bougie Baby Budget. Oh my God.
Bougie baby budget.
All right. Okay. If anybody out there wants to develop this app, we're here to help.
Yeah. Because we need someone to keep us on a bougie diet. So.
Oh my God. Well, listen, this is good and bougie, and I think it's bougie on a budget, and you can impress, entertain, and really just salivate. It is so flipping good, you guys. I might throw a picture of it up on Instagram. Why not? I already
do
have
it. It looked really fucking good.
Yeah, we don't keep up with our social media.
We're gonna do it. I promise. We're gonna do it.
So I'm gonna put this picture up. I mean, it's not the best picture, y'all, but it is in existence at the very least.
Yeah, put it up. I'm excited.
All right, you guys. So this is part 1 of our Be and Bougie. This is Braised and Bougie.
Braised and Bougie. Next week is a good bougie.
Yeah. Do you want to reveal it?
Next week. So this week we did braised and bougie.
Mm-hmm.
Next week we're going to do blue and bougie. So blue cheese.
Oh shit.
Blue cheese. And the last week we're going to have baked and bougie.
Yeah, because these recipes are bougie and they're special, but they're approachable and they're easy to make.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to add this recipe in the show notes also for you guys. And if you have any questions, if I didn't explain something well enough, drop us a line, send us a DM, slip into my DMs, and I'll answer you because, this is what we do. We love this stuff.
We do.
All right, you guys, have a very bougie week and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.